Hi, my full name is Samuel Alexander Beckstead, but I am known as Alexander. Allow me to share a summary of my life. My grandfather, John Beckstead, was born in Hanover, Lower Saxony, Prussia. As a young man, Grandpa John moved to England and joined the British Navy to fight against France. The war in America pitted the French and their Native American allies against the English and their native allies. After the war was won, John settled in Albany, New York. In 1759, he married an Irish girl named Elizabeth MacDonald. My father, Francis, was born to this couple in 1773. At age 21, father married my mother, Margaret Catherine Barclay in Schoharie, New York, and moved to Williamsburg, Ontario, Canada, where I was born in 1802. At age 21, I married Catherine Eleanor Linza. She was born in Canada 5 years after me. All 15 of our children and spouses are shown on this chart. Our first 8 children were born in Ontario. William and Mary died as babies. George died at age 5. Amanda died at age 8 and Lucy died at age 13. We lived in this lovely rock house which was built in 1807. In 1837 we all listened to missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We were joyful that Christ had appeared and instructed Joseph Smith similar to what he had done to Paul on the road to Damascus. Despite opposition, most of us were baptized on June 18, 1837. During the next year we sold our property in Canada, and on July 4, about 40 of us Becksteads crossed the St. Lawrence River with our ox teams and wagons to join the Saints in Missouri. After traveling for 3 months we arrived in Missouri, and began to build good homes, but trials came which were hard to bear. Governor Boggs received many negative reports about us and issued his extermination order which required us to leave Missouri. Beautiful homes of the Saints were burned and people on both sides died. At one time 3 members of a mob rode up to my door and demanded our guns. My wife, Catherine, seeing them coming, took the guns and placed them in bed with her sick daughter. She refused to give them guns until finally one of the men went into the house. As he opened the door he saw the sick girl lying in bed, then left telling the other men that he could not see a gun, and that there was nothing in the house but a dying young woman. During the bitter winter of 1838 to 1839 the Becksteads and some 5,000 Latter-day Saints crossed the Mississippi River from Missouri and settled in western Illinois. Persecutions in Illinois soon began. The purpose was to drive us out of Illinois, as we had been driven out of New York and Missouri. Our prophet Joseph Smith kept getting charged with various crimes, and Governor Ford promised protection if he would just go to jail and stand trial. In June of 1844, Joseph reported to the county jail in Carthage. However, Governor Ford withdrew his state troopers and a mob of over 200 men attacked the jail and killed both Joseph and his brother Hiram. At that time, the Saints had built a temple in their beautiful city of Nauvoo. Nauvoo was built on a bend in the Mississippi and rivaled Chicago in size. By February 1846, the Saints were forced to start leaving Nauvoo. Our family first moved, with hundreds of others, to a temporary stopover camp in western Iowa called Council Bluffs. Catherine gave birth to twins here and one died. Even though we had left the United States, government officials came and asked President Brigham Young to furnish 500 volunteers to help fight their war against Mexico. My oldest son, Gordon Silas, age 20, joined the Mormon Battalion. Gordon's cousin and an uncle also joined. They became famous because of their long walk to San Diego. In 1849 we left Iowa and headed for the almost treeless Salt Lake Valley and arrived in September. We were the first family to settle in the river bottoms on the west side of the Jordan River. We were over Jordan and under the hill people because we dug caves into the western hillside for temporary homes. Lumber was scarce. This drawing by Susan Hooper illustrates our first dugout homes. We used sun-dried adobes for the walls that stuck out of the hillside. We originally called South Jordan, Gale, because of strong winds. The land on the west side of the river was owned by George A. Smith, and I purchased a large section from him. My land extended from about 9,400 south to 1,250 south and from the Jordan River west to about 1,300 west, Temple Drive. Along with my sons and neighbors, we dug a 2.5-mile-long ditch to bring water from Midas Creek before it meets the river. The ditch greatly increased our production of vegetables, wheat, oats, barley and potatoes. In 1853 I built a blacksmith shop and earned extra money by making and installing shoes on horses. In 1858 2,500 U.S. Army soldiers marched across my property on their way to a military base called Camp Floyd. U.S. President Buchanan had ordered troops to Utah because of rumors of a Utah rebellion. South Jordan was first named in 1863 when 9 families were made a separate branch of the West Jordan Ward. A 14 by 18 foot adobe church house was built just south of the cemetery, which doubled as a schoolhouse. Even though my wife Catherine had given birth to 15 children, a 19-year-old lady named Keziah Albine Petty became interested in marrying me. She already had 1 child and single women struggled financially. Since polygamy was legal, I agreed, and we were married in 1854. Keziah must have expressed a positive view of married life because 8 years later another 19-year-old girl named Clarissa and Gilson also wanted to marry me. Again, we agreed, and so I did. Thanks to my large property, I was financially able to support big families. Keziah bore 10 children and Clarissa bore 7. Keziah said this about me: I loved my husband very much. He was a great man because he was staunch, firm, yet very kind and generous. I am grateful Keziah felt that way. Our families worked well together and tried to follow the Savior's words, love one another. Unfortunately, I passed away in 1870 and was buried in the South Jordan Cemetery. My 2 younger wives later remarried. This 2023 Google satellite map illustrates the continued influence our rather large family has had on the area. Beckstead Lane, on the left, 1600 West, goes north past Beckstead Park, across the South Jordan Parkway, and ends at the Gale Center of History and Culture. Becksteads are featured at the Gale Center. The Find a Grave website shows there are currently 363 Beckstead persons buried in the South Jordan Cemetery. The Beckstead Ditch, shown by the red line on the right, still carries water along the west side of the Jordan River and helps water Mulligan's golf course. The location of the original dugout homes is also shown west of the ditch. This 2023 photo was taken on the Cemetery Road by the hairpin turn in the Beckstead Ditch, looking southwest at the hillside where dugout homes used to be. This hillside was also a source of dirt for making adobe bricks. Building of new homes is in progress. Jeremy Taylor's photo looks west across the river at South Jordan today. Thanks for listening. Till we meet again. Thanks to the stories in FamilySearch.org and in the Book of Dugouts inspires the history of South Jordan, Utah by Ronald R. Bateman. Also, thanks to MyHeritage for providing the AI software to tell my story, and to Rex Shumway, editor.